first and obvious pleasure is to thank Justice Albie Sachs for what he's just said and what you've just heard. His very moving and wise words. It seemed to me he brought to this podium this evening the spirit, the message, the reminder of something that can never be said too often, which is that our values and principles and beliefs in freedom are all, should be and must be non-discriminatory, non-judgmental, universal, and applying to all the citizens of the world, but certainly as far as we can have a say through the gigantic Commonwealth network to all the billions of citizens of the amazing Commonwealth system as it spreads across the world. So thank you very much, Justice Sachs, for what you've said, which really does arm us and embolden us for the causes we have to fight for. And we'll be fighting for them at Commonwealth meetings and many other in multinational meetings as well. So thank you very much, and thank you of course to you, Daisy, for inviting me to be here tonight and giving me the privilege of moving a vote of appreciation to Justice Sachs. As I think everyone knows, I've been a strong advocate of the Commonwealth network as it changes into adjusts itself to the 21st century for a long time. I think many of us have seen coming the time when people would turn and say, what this century needs, what this very troubled world needs, is the kind of platform which the Commonwealth system can offer. And indeed I'd even go so far as to say that as I watch the interweaving of the information revolution with governments and government authority, I see governments struggling everywhere to maintain their legitimacy and authority amongst the billions of people who are empowered by the web and by the information system. I see the Commonwealth as very near to being a great idea whose time has come or is just coming, or coming again in yet another metamorphosed form to support the needs of the 21st century. And I think it's particularly useful when we see a great new institution evolve out of a past institution, which is what we are seeing, that it needs the accoutrements, it needs the devices and supports of that great institutions need. And one of those devices and supports is a strong independent voice, a prod if you like, a reminder, a check that every time institutionalization starts taking over, and it does in all institutions, they start freezing up, jamming up, channels get blocked. You do need something to prod them and to launch a critical, constructive view all the time to keep people on their toes. And that is just what I hope the Commonwealth Advisory Bureau is going to do with Daisy. That's your intention, and that's exactly what it should do, and that's exactly why it's needed. Now we are going to be moving towards a huge meeting, international meeting, on the edge of the Indian Ocean in Perth in Australia, the end of October, the heads of government meeting with all sorts of ancillary meetings beside it. And this will be, I think, a very important moment for seeing how this Commonwealth network can really carry forward the principles which is all too easy to put in rhetoric and to wax lyrical over, that are much more difficult to see applied in practice. We've got some new recommendations from the Eminent Persons Group, which has worked very hard, very demanding recommendations about how the Commonwealth can live up to its own standards and its own brands, and make its and all its citizens the worthy owners of the badge and the pride of the Commonwealth. That's going to be a very tough discussion and debate, and different countries, different societies, different organisations in that vast substructure which is the Commonwealth, underneath governments as it were, or perhaps above governments I should say, how that is all going to live up to these principles. And there will be very different ideas about how it should be done, at what pace we should make institutional changes, how they should be applied, and who should apply them, and all the rest. So it's going to be a tough task. I think the theme of the Australians, which the Australians as hosts have set for this Heads of Government meeting, is building national resilience and building global resilience. And we certainly need lots and lots of that, because the strains are going to be very, very tough indeed on the whole international landscape, the whole international structure. Power has shifted, and when power shifts, as all the history books tell us, and in the world, usually in the past, great power shifts, great falls of empires, rise of new influences, new centres of promotional influence and power have been accompanied by some violence. And that is what we cannot afford any more of in the present time, as we see new political structures take over, and we see the sources of wealth, influence, power, markets, economic development, all shift from the pattern of the 20th century to the pattern of the 21st. So that's the scene before us. I hope your Bureau plunges into this scene with its promotion of the right values. There are those who say, well, you can't eat these things, you can't eat values and rhetoric and eloquence. You can't, but in fact you can't prosper. You can't have the economics of jobs and food and prosperity and water and development and rising out of poverty without these values underpinning it. So the two things go together. These are the foundations, and you can't build any building without foundations. We have to put the foundations in, we have to build on them, we have to create the kind of Commonwealth which means something to every young citizen, of which half the Commonwealth is composed, and we have to bring home to many of the statesmen of the world that the structures of the past haven't really organised and run the world very well. It's not in very good shape, our world, and we do need something new, and I think right at the heart of the Commonwealth, that something new is there, although the values behind it may be old. So tonight we've had an opportunity to hear the values, hear the spirit of the Commonwealth we need, and tomorrow we have to fight to achieve it. Thank you, Daisy. Thank you, Justice. It's a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here this evening. Thank you.